Whatever you think you know about seashells, forget it.
The sex of Ming is unknown, as the reproductive state at the time was just recorded as spent. Okay. And during mating season, they play a game called penis fencing.
Who hasn't played that a time or two in their youth?
I'm going to watch these what I think are dead fish eggs for like 2 months.
See what happens.
Here's your $100 million grant. Just keep an eye on those fish.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coast Files, your podcast for ocean mysteries and true crime. I'm Chantal.
I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Megan.
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Lindsay is now in a stable situation.
Somewhat.
Recording.
I'm
Yeah.
getting there.
As in, like, you're not balancing a microphone.
Yes, ignore the chaos on the floor. I'm going to put it away after this recording.
Whenever.
Whatever you feel
I'm
like.
just telling
There's
the
no
girls
rush.
I have to clean the closet and then put away stuff. So
I'm cleaning up my closet.
That's the first thing I thought of.
So a lot of work around here, but getting there.
But your desk is set up, mostly.
My desk is set up, and I found my HDMI cord 5 minutes before we started. That was nice.
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
I was like, where is it? Panic. But
Okay. But it's only going to get better and better. But again, please send us
Yes.
photos. I love, like, before and after shots of, like, chaos to gorgeous.
I know. Thank you.
Guy,
Well,
just
the only room that's done is my bathroom. But
Oh,
Good.
and
perfect.
that
I'll
is
see it. Oh, and
that
you
is
know, you
gorgeous.
sent that already. Yeah, that is beautiful. I love
thank
it.
you. I know. It
It's
was tough to like decide. I went for a bold color, but it turned out really well.
it's great.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad I went for it.
I enjoy it. Well,
Can't wait to destroy it.
Yeah. All it's gonna take is one booze-filled night. That bathroom will be
yeah,
mine.
I'm
I
sure
will make it
it's-
my bitch.
I'm
Yes.
going to sleep in there just in case.
Okay, so you guys have that first photo open. It's just a cover photo, but you guys can open that.
It's very
But,
pretty.
Beautiful.
Thank you. So I'm going to get us started because, as I said to you girls earlier, I tried to make this a shorter one. So this is kind of like a mishmash episode because I had a bunch of little things on my list that I was like, I don't know where to put this in. And another idea that I had was because Sunday that just passed was National Seashell Day. Thank you. Oh my God, I didn't think I was going to get through that.
I was like,
So-
what's happening?
She sells seashells by the seashore.
Seashells by the
shells that
seashore,
She
yes.
sells our seashells, I'm sure.
Does
Oh my
she-
God, I forgot the second part.
Does she sell seashells at the Seychelles? That's a place.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yes,
That
it
is where
is.
this
It
current
is.
season of Below Deck is taking place at the Seychelles.
Okay. So I'm gonna start us off today with cool seashell facts. Oh my God, I didn't even like Okay, first of all, just so you guys are aware, I wrote these notes at work, while in the middle of a bunch of stuff.
If
so if
her
anything
employer's
doesn't make
listening,
sense,
no, she did
No, I
not.
didn't.
She's totally kidding.
I don't know if they're gonna make sense. I didn't have time to proofread. It's
I
been a very
can't
stressful
wait.
week.
I can't wait for this.
Well, you already said
and
the hardest
I didn't think
word,
about
so you got
how many times I might have to say seashells. So we're gonna hope that goes well. And then also the second part of this, because there wasn't enough seashell info to make this a full episode, I thought my next facts aligned with June being Pride Month. That's
Ooh,
That's
kind of where
cool.
we're going.
Wait,
after
she's on the
this.
table.
Oh.
Fucking get down.
Oh my goodness, she's a rebel.
Chaos is ensuing.
She heard the
You turn
seashells
your
and she was
back
like,
for a
I'm super
second.
interested.
She just goes crazy.
She's like, I need to know all this information.
Hmm.
Okay, so you guys can just hang on to photo 1 for a little bit, and I'm gonna get us started with the oldest known shelled organisms. And they're actually fossilized remains of microscopic eukaryotes. Eukaryotes.
Oh, that's my favorite animal.
That means that it's an organism that has a nucleus and membrane-bound organelles.
This is going to be
Okay.
Multicellular.
a
Obviously.
nightmare for you,
Anyways.
but I can't wait.
Yeah, they were living approximately 809 million years ago. This means that they're part of the Neoproterozoic era, which is between 1 billion and 541 million years ago.
Those numbers
And
don't
they're
add up.
809 is very actually specific, kind of.
Yeah, so it was like approximately 809 million years ago.
Oh, okay.
They were found in 2016 by scientists that were studying the 15-mile group in the Yukon. Do you guys know what the 15-mile group is?
I was just gonna
I
ask.
feel like we should because we're Canadians. Yeah.
So it's very cool, actually. I'm not going to go too deep into it this time because obviously I don't have time for this. But it's located in Ogilvy Mountains in the Yukon,
My
and
sister
most
lives there.
fossils found here are part of that Neoproterozoic era, and it's just layers and layers and layers of rock that hold like all kinds of fossilized history there, and it
Oh, that
obviously
sounds
goes
cool.
in like a long
Okay.
direction of it. Anyways, they study a lot. They've learned a lot. So while these organisms that they found are not directly seashells, they are the first known organisms to create their own protective shell, and it actually rewrote history by about 200 million years. And also, the scientists had to rethink the idea that these shells were only made as protection to not be eaten because these were microscopic organisms, so they weren't likely worried about being eaten.
Well, they had no brain, so they're just kind of like
Okay.
vibing, you know.
Yeah. So, anyways, that kind of like rewrote a lot of history in 2016 when this
Damn.
happened.
That's like that's pretty recent for a science discovery.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's like 10 years
well,
ago.
I mean, we're constantly discovering things and we still know nothing. So,
So I have to throw out
the
all my
next-
old science books.
Yeah, just throw
Burn them,
everything you knew about
burn them.
seashells before.
Okay. I'll get rid of
that's
my
now
seashell book
nothing.
collection.
Yeah.
For pre-2016.
Whatever you think you know about seashells, forget it.
So this next cool fossilized fact is the next photo that you can go to, and it is one that comes from a freshwater mussel shell that was dated between 540 to 430,000 years ago, and it's called the Pseudodon dub 1006-FL.
Who names these things?
I don't know. But it was found in Indonesia in 1890. And the really cool part about this fossil is that you see those zigzag engravings on it. That's indicated that it was made by someone in the Homo erectus family. And in 2014, the shell was studied again by biologist Josephine Jordans. And she theorizes that the engravings were probably made on a fresh shell by using a shark tooth in a single session, meaning that one person just kind of did it all at once.
For fun.
And it's
Oh,
like
it
currently up for debate on whether this is the earliest known artistic expression of humanoids in the world or whether it was just
What?
something random. They a lot of times
Okay.
call it doodles, but then they were like, is this potentially art? So it's up
And
for debate about what this is.
they made scratch like this.
The little scratches that are on it, they think were
Okay.
made by a humanoid because of the how they happened and, you know, how they study all of it and see that it's like a smooth writing and like what happened. They think it was made with a shark tooth by a Homo erectus.
Oh, it's an M.
Like they're
So-
clearly
name
is like an
started with
up and
M.
down motion,
I'm guessing.
or
Yeah,
end it with
that's
M.
probably it. Yeah.
Maybe that.
It was me.
It
was
Megan.
Megan.
It's Megman.
I was riding my megalodon, and I'm like, wait a second, look at this giant clam.
Let me borrow your tooth quickly.
Yes.
Do a little art. So, have you ever wondered how a seashell is actually made? If not, I'm going to tell you anyways.
Okay.
It's all that I think about.
Okay.
Now
I
it's
wake
all
up
I think about.
screaming.
Keeps you up
Dying.
Thinking, yeah, thinking about how are seashells created, and I
The
just,
last
you know,
5
I
seconds
pray.
left.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so their outermost layer of tissues on mollusks, which include snails, clams, and scallops, is called the mantle. And this layer not only connects the body to the shell, but it's also the creator of the shell itself. So this layer secretes proteins and that becomes like the framework. And then they secrete calcium carbonate from their bodies as well. And layer by layer, they build their own protective shells or their houses.
That's so fucking
And
cool.
they attach this calcium carbonate to the protein framework, and this starts as early as their larval stage. So each layer has a purpose for protecting the animal itself. So the outermost layer is normally hard, bumpy, spiky, and made mostly of protein. The middle layer is calcium carbonate, which fills the spaces and makes it nice and tough. And then the third layer, the innermost, is called the nacre. Nacre. And this is like the shiny stuff on the inside that you see, and it's
Oh,
soft
I
against
love
the
that
mollusk
stuff.
body.
Pretty. It's like
So
pearl.
It
as
is
they
so pretty.
grow, they continue to build on the outermost area. So if it's a snail, they continue to build like the out layer this way. And if it's like a mussel, they build on the outermost lip and get bigger and bigger that way.
But they never have a bigger inside house?
No, it like all builds together.
Okay. So
Yeah.
like even the inside space gets bigger.
All
Okay.
3 of those layers continue
I
to
was
build.
imagining that they're inside and it's just the outer layers and there's like
Yeah.
my house is so small yet my roof is massive.
No.
But
No,
okay.
no, not that.
They build
Okay,
from the inside and it just expands.
Mhm,
I like
exactly.
this.
Okay.
Which is why they're like thinner at the end.
Also, that makes
they are.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the colors and patterns on the shells are actually genetically coded and due to the different pigments that are released during the secretions, but it can also be influenced by the environment and its diet. And each shell is completely unique, just like a fingerprint.
That's cool.
That is really cool.
Yes. So going back to one of my other episodes of Reduce, Reuse, Recycle. So hermit crabs, they don't build a shell. They use discarded shells. So they'll use this a lot from like snails and things like that. And some octopi also have been known to collect shells to protect while
Aw.
traveling during open ocean.
That's really cute.
So strength and self-healing. Seashells are also crazy strong, as you've probably known if you've ever come across a shell. Some, like the abalone, are made of microscopic tiles. So they look like little tiles like kind of built up and grafted on each other that can
That's
stop cracks
cool.
from spreading. And they
Okay.
inspired real world body armor and bulletproof materials as well.
That's cool.
And some mollusks can repair damaged shells by secreting more calcium carbonate to the area. So it's kind of like a
White blood cell.
Wolverine Deadpool
Okay.
kind of thing
Oh,
going on.
yes, that also makes more sense.
Yeah. Home, home renovation people
So
should take note.
Yeah,
Shells
that's
should
right.
do, right?
So some science, because we have to. I think we've discussed in a previous episode, I think you brought this up, Lindsay, maybe, the Fibonacci sequence, so the golden spiral. I actually meant to throw in a picture of
Maybe
this,
you
but I
did.
forgot. I have enough. That's fine.
I think I mentioned it
yeah.
in relation to one of your science things.
Okay, maybe that was it.
Someone
So-
said
yes.
Fibonacci sequence.
Someone
Yes.
said it. So snails are a prime example of this in nature because it's found in a lot of places in nature, and snails are like literally a Fibonacci sequence. They continue to grow proportionately in a spiral, and the spiral allows the mollusk to grow without changing its shape or size. Without changing its shape. So it doesn't have to like break its shell down and build a new one. It just continues to build on, like I said before. So they don't have to spend as much energy, and they keep on just adding on additions. So
I think
it's
it was
like,
actually your Atlantis of Japan, maybe, when we were talking about things in nature.
Oh yes, maybe that
Oh,
was it.
God, you
That
have
would
good
make sense.
memory.
I was just
Yeah,
thinking
that
about it. I'm
does
like,
sound
wait, what was
familiar.
it?
So yeah, they keep on adding additions onto their home. So hopefully it's not like the Winchester home or something, the
No.
Winchester widow, and it's
Yeah.
Poor Sarah.
pretty bad up there. But anyways,
mean,
that's what they keep doing.
Probably more logic
And,
to their decisions.
There is also a section of science called paleoclimatology, and scientists will analyze oxygen isotopes in old seashells to have a better understanding of how ocean temperatures have changed from the past.
That's so cool.
That is
yeah.
really cool.
Wow, I'm not smart. When you say things like that, I'm like, holy shit.
And then the nacre, the shiny opalescent part that we talked about before, seashells like abalone have been used by NASA to study lightweight, heat-resistant materials to use in space tech.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know
And-
any of this stuff.
Lastly, you can go to the next photo. I'm going to tell you about...
Why do you look so mischievous?
Or sorry, the next one. It's gonna...
Ooh.
Actually, this isn't lastly. I think I moved things around. I'm going to tell you about pharmaceutical snails.
Oh, I know a little bit about this because I don't watch TikTok, but TikToks are sent to me and I just know it's a thing on
Okay.
TikTok.
So this is called the magician cone snail, and his venom he typically uses to freeze his food actually has pain relieving properties and led to the development of a medication called Prialt or Ziconotide, which is 1,000 times more powerful than morphine.
Oh my
And he
God.
also has cousins that have also been in the development of other pain medications as well. And they recently discovered another one of his cousins. So you never know. We could be coming up with some
He's
more.
a big family.
He does, yeah. And fun fact, this is also the one that you see on a lot on jewelry because you don't have to put any extra holes in it. So it was always easy for them to use as like on
Okay.
necklaces.
I save so much time with my holes.
But it was something that's like been used like over time as jewelry
Yeah.
because they didn't have to do anything to it.
So I can't see from this photo, but then you're implying that there's a hole at the top somewhere to
Yeah,
like feed
there
through
is.
metal?
Do you
Wow.
not know like a puka shell one that sometimes has these on it?
Oh my God,
Mhm.
yes, but they're always
Yeah.
the other way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's always
been a
like
long
it's part
day.
of the this
Oh,
part of the
yes, if I just were to imagine the photo on its side, it makes perfect
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
So now I have a little bit of a sad story.
Oh,
And this next photo is of Ming the clam. So Ming was an ocean quahog clam, and he was found off the coast of Iceland in 2006 during routine dredging for science. So a lot of times they just dredge the bottom to collect up a bunch of things so that they can study them. And the sex of Ming is unknown, as the reproductive state at the time was just recorded as spent. Okay.
Okay.
So what
I've had my
happened?
fun. I'm
Yeah, I
done.
guess so. So just the penis fell off. Like
Leave it. I don't need it.
So, what happened that made Ming such a tragedy for science? In order to accurately age clams, they have to open the shell and count the growth rings at the hinge,
Like a
so
tree.
effectively killing it.
Oh, wow.
But to be fair, the clam had already been frozen for like a year before this even occurred, so it was the freezing that probably killed it, but they would have killed it anyways by an accident.
Mhm.
So it wasn't until the scientists in 2007 that they aged Ming that they realized that he was 405 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was actually the Sunday Times that named the clam Ming due to the fact that he would have been alive during the Ming Dynasty of China. And in 2013, Ming was studied again, and they recounted the bands and compared this with other clams that were alive during the time of Ming, and compared it with carbon dating that they realized that he was actually 507 years old. This made Ming the oldest known individual animal ever recorded.
Oh,
Ming.
wow.
So today, Ming is preserved in a museum and still contributes to climate and longevity research.
Older than the Greenland shark.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, not by a whole
Not
lot.
by
but yeah,
much.
that's-
No.
They were hanging out together for sure at one point.
They were drinking
Um,
buddies.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I didn't want to end on the sad note with our damn it, I almost did it.
So close.
Seashell section. So for funsies, we have the next photo. And this is a very robotic, metal, futuristic looking
the
snail.
fuck?
And this is
Oh,
called the
God.
scaly foot snail.
I hate
And
it so much.
They live near
Oh my
deep
gosh.
sea hydrothermal vents. So this is where it comes into about how their environment can also determine how they make their shells. So it secretes iron sulfide to make its shell, which is why they look like they're ready to go off
Mhm.
to war
like,
on like
or
a horse
join
back.
the dark side or something.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
or I'm watching some kind of Japanese hentai.
Like he's like also just like totally into metal music, you know. He's at
Yeah.
he's got the makeup going on. So it does this by using its scaly foot. So you can see the scaly foot there with all the little
Yeah.
like black parts on it.
Yeah.
So this actually filters harmful sulfur away from the snail's soft tissues and deposits this as an iron-based compound on the back of the outside of its shell.
Oh, so he keeps it.
Okay.
Yeah.
He
So he's like, he
recycles.
filters it and then he's like, let's use this here to protect myself even further in this area that we're living at. So this is how he is able to live around hydrothermal vents and survive.
Okay.
It just
Yeah.
makes
He
me
is
uncomfortable.
really
It looks-
interesting looking.
it's like
the
a
skin.
tongue.
I think they're
It's very like
fucking
ornate
cool.
or something.
I've like
Yeah.
definitely seen this one before and I'm like, this might be my favorite snail.
I like that it's black and it looks shiny, like it's like
Mhm.
oil slick. Like it looks cool, but I don't like the
Mhm.
color of the snail's flesh. It creeps me out.
I love it.
It looks like a
So
human
good.
tongue, or like I don't know. God, oh God.
Okay, well, we're going to take a next change. So if you want to get off of it, you can go to
Yes!
the next photo. Okay.
I don't want it to get me
So-
off. I want to get off of it. You know.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it. I got
Okay,
it.
so I want to be very clear.
So for this next section, I'm going to go through some terminology. And the terminology that we're going to kind of have to know here is sequential hermaphroditism, which means that an organism changes sex during its lifetime. And then we have protogeny, which means that the organism is born female and changes to male. Then we have
Cool.
protandry, which the organism is born male and turns female. And bidirectional, meaning that they can switch to either as needed.
So for the one conservative that's listening, it just shows you that transgenderness
natural.
exists. It's very natural. I mean,
Okay.
if these cute fish are doing it, I mean, your
Right.
son or daughter can do it.
So this
in
actually is about to
nature.
give Finding Nemo like a whole new
I-
meaning here. Okay, so the clownfish that you're looking at is
Marlin and Nemo.
Yes, all clownfish are born males. and they live
Cool.
in a hierarchy where the most dominant in the group and the biggest in the group is a female. And the
Oh, like
female
bees.
was once male.
Oh.
Yes, exactly. But except I don't think bees change genders.
No,
But-
no, I just meant like the biggest
Yeah,
one is
the
like
biggest
queen
and the best
bee.
is the
Yeah,
female. Yeah, I
makes
know.
sense.
The second on the list will be what's called the breeding male. And every other clownfish in the group lower than that are just considered non-breeders. And they live in this group for safety and basically waiting for their turn to become the breeding pair. So if a female were to leave or to die, then the breeding male will become the now dominant breeding female.
What the fuck? That's
Yeah.
so
How
cool.
does it?
So Marlin,
Yeah.
since his wife died,
It was actually
was
Marla.
about to become mummy. Yes. So that's kind of how they, and then the next one, the next dominant of the non-breeders will become the breeding male. And that's how they like keep their whole group
Oh,
going.
it's a circle of
That's
life.
so freaking cool.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to talk about Jurassic Park at all?
No.
Well, because
frog
that's how.
DNA?
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
because the frogs that they used, they were known to switch genders.
I didn't
AKA.
get into the frogs because I feel like most people know that one.
You'd be
I do touch
surprised.
on a frog at one point.
Chicken.
Chipkin's going crazy today. I do touch on a frog at one point, but we'll get into that later.
Hey, beautiful girl.
She's so cute.
She's trying to cause trouble right now.
So you go to the next photo there. These guys are called, these ones specifically are called humphead wrasses, but I'm just going to talk about wrasses in general.
I love everything about him.
Isn't
I
he
think,
beautiful?
I think I saw him in a
Oh my
video
gosh.
where he was trying to bite a hammer that a diver was using and almost like a dog.
This
'Cause they
may
got those two
be
teeth.
the most beautiful pattern I've ever seen on an
Oh, I know. It's
animal.
gorgeous.
It's very how would
gosh.
you describe it? Like futuristic. Like I've seen this in
It's
The Matrix
art.
or Avatar.
I
Okay, I know the
front
seashell
of the
was trying to
face.
claim art earlier, but I think this guy
This is art.
Yeah.
Oh,
From my
this
opinion.
is actual art.
Look near his little fin.
This is
Look
God's
how
art.
like
I know, it's
intricate that is.
So,
I
it's like a
know. It's
Wow.
brain or
they're
something.
gorgeous. I think they have them at the Ripley's Aquarium. We've probably definitely seen them before.
We gotta
Probably
go back.
definitely.
It's been a
Okay.
minute since we've been there.
Yeah.
So
So these are kind of the opposite where they all start as females and can change to males later on in life. So the exact reason for changing to males is not completely known. These fish take a long time to actually reach sexual maturity. It takes 5 to 7 years for them to reach sexual maturity. Some will become male at about 9 years of age. And humphead wrasses will move down current to an area of the reef to spawn in local groups. And then the eggs will settle on the local reef that's right there. So they actually don't go far from home to do any of their mating. And the suspected reasons for changing of the sex could be because of lower populations of males or females or vice versa. And it could also be due to environmental changes. So basically they change to whatever is needed in the
that's
situation.
amazing for
Ah,
evolution, which
wow.
also
Mhm.
exists,
Well,
by the
is
way. Evolution's
even,
real.
Even human embryos aren't for like the first beginning stages.
Female.
They're all
Everyone
female, yeah.
and then
Mm.
that's why men have nipples, right?
And men's balls are actually
And-
their ovaries.
Yeah. they
Yes,
just
because
went down.
they all start inside.
Yeah.
Have you ever actually seen an anatomically correct uterus?
Recently, and that's it's like a
Oh, you
little.
were saying
Everything
it.
is all smushed.
Yeah, so you know how like in a biology book it'll be like here's your uterus and here's your ovaries and they're over
Right,
here,
yeah.
right? And actually it's all like squished together in our little pelvic area like this. So they actually look more like balls hanging down beside the uterus, but
It actually makes a lot more
Oh,
sense.
Yeah.
And then
does.
isn't a vagina just like an inverted penis?
I mean, kind of. There's a
Well,
bit
there's
more
the
to
same
it than
elements. They just form
Yeah.
differently.
that. Yeah.
But essentially, they're the same.
I would say our cervix looks closer to a penis than the actual vagina itself.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Welcome to your anatomy
Mhm.
podcast,
Yeah.
where
you're
it
welcome.
starts on fish and ends on humans, I guess.
And
Yeah.
on uteruses. Uteri. Okay, so the next photo here is a parrotfish, which are also beautiful.
So cute.
Aren't they?
He's so 90s.
I know.
Like my bedroom wanted to be this color palette.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's
So,
the cutest thing
All
ever.
summer,
Sorry.
like this is the color palette I want in my life. But then come
Yes.
fall, I'm like, well, now I need to be spooky.
This is the bathing suit pattern that I want.
Hell yes. I love the
Yes.
highlighter yellow on the tail.
And
Mhm.
that peach Chantal.
That's the
Beautiful.
mango.
There you go.
That's the mango
Yeah.
that we would like.
Ooh, you should
Just bring a
investigate
picture of
that.
this fish to the paint store. Be like, this color.
This.
This. Where is
Do
it?
this.
Yeah.
So another type, these are another type of reef fish that can change sex, and they mostly start out as females in what's known as the initial phase, and then they change into males in the terminal phase of life.
Oh, that sounds very ominous.
Do with that as you will. However, some species, such as the stoplight parrotfish, develop directly into males and miss that initial phase altogether. So there are some that like don't do this. There is also the other side where some Mediterranean parrotfish do not change from male to female at all. They're just born into their relative sexes. So sex changing normally occurs because of hormonal changes, but it depends on the species of parrotfish, the individual itself, and the environmental conditions. And fun fact, the parrotfish will also change colors during this process.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was actually like a once again, I had too many photos. I don't know why I did this to myself, but I was going to show you guys how they look. They look very different at each stage of life.
Send it later.
They're very like dull. And then obviously when they get to the male form is where they're like, we are fabulous.
Okay, please send these
Yeah,
later. I am
I will.
now obsessed with these fish, especially this guy and then the Ramses, what you call him?
Did-
Rassy?
Did these fish produce asexually, or did I have to?
No,
find it?
we get into those though.
Oh, okay.
But no,
Okay.
Let's
they
get into
produce still
fish
Tell me about
by,
fish sex.
They still do it by fertilizing.
Okay.
So our next photo, we're going back to some seashells here. These are called slipper limpets, and these are a type of gastropod mollusk. You know those seashells that you see sometimes that have like the flat bottom and then they just have like the top. It looks over like this, like very curved on the top, but they have a flat bottom.
Okay, yes. Normally in
Yeah.
cartoons.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So that's what these are, and they tend to live in stacks of up to 12. So actually on here, there's a bug on there that's
I see
not
it.
actually part
not
of the
part of
slipper
this.
limpets
Get
at
that
all.
bug out of
The
here.
male is on the side over there.
That little tiny thing?
That little tiny guy. So they tend to live in stacks of 12 and they stack by size. The largest is normally the oldest and female on the bottom, and the smallest will be closer to the top and it will be male. And if the female of the stack dies, the next largest of the male will become female. So they stay in these stacks and they just like continue to grow and continue to
Oh, wow.
just change as needed.
Nature is so
I
freaking
know.
wild.
I also
this
find
is
it so
sick.
interesting how
finds
like
a way.
in some species like the male are smaller and the female are smaller, or like the male's
Yeah.
more beautiful and like
Yes.
Mhm.
obviously in
Well, I mean, even look at
humans, we
lions,
tend to be
right?
more
Like,
beautiful. But
The
you know
lions
what
are
I
like
mean.
these big guys who like protect them, but the females are doing all the shit. They're like
Right, they're the
doing all the hunting, they're
hunters, they're,
doing all
like,
the breeding, they're
doing the
they're
work. Right.
We
Yeah.
just can't escape
Wait,
our
what
lot
do
in
the
life.
male lions do again?
They look cool.
they sleep,
They
but
just-
then they also protect. That's it.
They protect.
Cool.
Okay. I was like,
It's
wait a
the
minute. You're not
protection.
hunting.
That's
You're
why we
not
need.
Okay, but
giving us the babies.
but I would
Like, what
say
are
that
you
in
We're
that
paying
case,
them to protect us.
in that case, their idea of protecting is more just like it's more reactive. They're not like going out killing. They're just like looking tough, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
They're still cool. I mean, I still would never fuck with a lion, but
Oh yeah, for sure.
a seashell, yeah, maybe I
Yes.
would. Fuck with a
Seashell,
snail.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
I mean,
think
maybe
could
they're
take a
just off
seashell.
doing a musical somewhere. Like
Maybe.
so.
That's fair. They have a lot of practicing to do.
Exactly.
Okay, so the next guy is a mangrove rivulus. Not very
Aw.
exciting. Looks kind of like a little guppy.
Yeah.
cute.
I feel like I've had a fish like
And-
this before.
Oh yeah, for sure you have. And these are mostly hermaphrodites and can actually reproduce by self-fertilization. So some males do exist, but it only makes up about 3 to 8% of the population. So these are basically just spawning clones constantly.
Okay.
Which I don't really know what that means for mutations, or maybe they don't occur that often.
They're
I
just
didn't really
God's
get into that
perfect
because they
creature.
would probably die out. Yeah. So there are very few who actually are genetically different from one another because there's 3 to 8% of the population is males.
Sorry, I just find
wow.
it so funny that all these fish are just the same fish as before.
Yeah.
So
Like,
it's
right-
really hard to get a man if you're this type of fish.
And fun fact, they can survive out of water for about 2 months, and so can their eggs.
Huh?
So if their eggs happen to be out of water, even when they're fertilized and ready to like turn into fish, they will just like kind of be stagnant in their stage until they're underwater again. So if they're ever in an area that like water evaporates, they'll just wait till the water is like there again, and then they're like,
I
okay,
think
cool,
it's
we can
crazy
go
that
now.
we even know that. Like someone just observe them for this long?
I
Yeah.
guess so.
And like,
I don't know whether it
still
was
alive.
practice or
I'm
whether
gonna
it was
watch
just
these
like
what I think
accidental.
are dead fish eggs for like
Yeah,
2 months.
See what happens.
Here's your $100 million grant. Just keep an eye on those fish. Can you look at that little fish's smile?
Yeah.
He looks or she looks so proud of herself,
Look for signs of
themselves.
life.
She probably
Yeah,
is she.
Okay.
Yeah.
She looks very proud. She's like,
She
I
does.
got this. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna have sex with myself and
I
make
don't
kids.
need no man.
Like literally.
Okay, so next we have what are called cleaner shrimp.
Oh, I love these
And
guys.
These, I know,
Makes
like we've
sense.
definitely seen these in like
Jacques.
Finding Nemo or Shark Tales or something.
It's Jacques. It's the French shrimp in the tank.
Oh
thing.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So obviously, they love to like clean fish. That's why they got their name of cleaner shrimp. There's actually so many cute photos of them like cleaning the inside of moray eels' mouths and stuff. Like they're just like, yeah, you're not
Oh
gonna
my
hurt me. I'm just gonna eat
They're
here.
like the dentists of the ocean.
They are, yeah. So they like to live in pairs but are also called simultaneous hermaphrodites. So once they've been in a bonded pair, they're not likely to interact with anybody else. So like, we're fine. Like we don't need to interact with any other shrimp.
No new
just
friends.
fish. Yeah, basically no new friends. But both individuals in the pair can lay up to 300 eggs per single spawn cycle. So they're both male and female, and they basically take turns on who's going to be laying eggs and who's going to inseminate them.
This sounds like an amazing relationship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Teamwork.
Makes the dream work.
And so they can both do.
They
either.
have both. They
Yeah.
have both organs.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
It's so freaking cool.
Now
So nice,
I
but
didn't
you
read
had the
anywhere
baby
that
this time.
yeah, well, I didn't
I
read
did it
anywhere
last
that they
time.
could inseminate their own eggs. So it seems like either one's working at a time or another, but they do have both, so they're able to change as needed.
That's so
Okay.
freaking cool.
Yeah. The next here kind of looks like the mangrove rivulus, but it's a little different. This is called the Amazon molly. And what's cool about them
baby.
is that they are all female.
Yes.
There is not one male to be found, and they are all genetically the same.
clones.
These fish are actually an
Attack of the
ancient
Clones.
species dating
What?
back to 100,000 years ago.
What the hell?
Oh my
And how
God.
they reproduce is even cooler because they will actually use males of similar species, like something called the sailfin molly. And what they do is they mate with them to activate their eggs. And then the male DNA, the male sperm is rejected out of their bodies and they just make a clone of themselves. So all the sperm does is say like, hey, egg, do something. And then they're
Oh
like,
my
get
God.
out
That's
of here,
enough.
sperm. And then
we
they're
don't
like,
need you.
yeah. And then they just make clones of themselves by something called gygenesis.
Okay, nature is actually
That's
fucking batshit
crazy.
crazy.
There are only females. You
None of the
cannot
rules
find males.
that we assume are there really apply.
No, none. None whatsoever. So these
It
all
just goes to
females.
show how many rules humans have around.
Well, and they're
this
also, like,
stuff.
Most rules, let's say.
yeah.
They're defying a lot of things scientifically because most of the times when you have DNA that doesn't change over time, then like your species probably isn't going to last. But they're like, it's cool. We made the genetic
We
code
were
and
perfect
we're fine.
from the get go.
Yeah, exactly.
We're good.
We got it right
Yeah.
the first time.
Yeah, exactly. So the next one here, this is my last one for hermaphrodite and sex changing, and
Okay.
these are flatworms.
Well,
So,
I love their color palette, number
Okay.
one.
they're really cute.
They're very
So-
like gothic romantic.
These
Very.
are also simultaneous hermaphrodites. And during mating season, they play a game called penis fencing.
Who hasn't played that a time or two in their youth? You know?
What else
you
would you
see
do
those?
with?
Right? Honestly, if I had a penis, I'd play this game.
Yeah.
I know you would.
So you see those little like things coming out of their head?
Are those
Those
their
are
penises?
they're called extendable two-dagger stylets. And they use this to pierce the outer layer of the other person to inseminate. So they just like inseminate their body and then they're done. It's called traumatic insemination.
They're not the
So
only
basically-
animal to do this either.
Yeah. I forget what's the other one.
And
There's
also,
something
I
else
think
like-
it's ducks have like
Human man.
spiky like
oh yeah, they
penises
they're
too, and
fucked
like
up when they
Ducks,
rape.
yeah.
Yeah.
Corkscrew.
Yeah, yeah.
Corkscrew.
Yeah, ducks are fucked.
But then
Oh
the
my
females were
gosh.
like, because of rape, they're like, we got you,
Two
and we made all these like hidden holes where you can't get to our thing because we don't want you to.
Oh my
Ducks-
God.
Actually, so very
so complicated.
ducks rape like all the time.
Yeah.
They're huge rapists.
Yeah. Same with
And-
dolphins.
But what happens is that over time, the females evolved because they don't want to make babies with the rapists. So they have all these dead ends to their vaginas that they
So it's
made.
like
And they
your odds of
they
getting
also evolved their
there are small.
vagina to be an opposite corkscrew. So it's even harder for the penis to get through because it's
So
like
how do we
going
even
this
get
way
our
and this
little
one's going this way.
ducklings?
Because a female
Because
duck
the
is like, you
female
know
has
what?
to
I like
actually
you.
be
Yeah,
okay with it.
Okay, and then she'll allow
Yeah.
the right place to open.
Correct.
Sorry,
She's like, you
again,
just go like, okay,
like,
do that. Yeah,
if
there you
men
go.
could-
And then
If men, because it really is all men, could just pay attention to like nature, they'd be like, wow, if a duck is going to biologically change itself over time to not get raped, maybe like we should stop human rapists. No, I'm sure that's fine.
No,
I'm sure. No, it's fine.
let them be president.
Oh. Okay, back to this
So,
beautiful nudie.
This then
stabby.
decides who's going to be the mother and who's going to be the father.
Whoever gets stabbed
Because
the
obviously
least.
whoever wins at the penis fencing becomes the father. That's how that works. Okay. And then I'm gonna get into
Wait, that's it?
That's my last for
That's
the
all we have on
Hermaphrodites.
penis fencing.
That's all I got on
Megan.
penis
Sorry.
fencing, yes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get into some bending the gender roles next. So
Also love this.
next we have seahorses, of course. And they have
Gay
what's called a
icon.
brood pouch where the females deposit their eggs and the males fertilize them inside their brood pouch, and the male will carry these babies to term where then you'll see the weirdest birth you've ever seen in your entire life. I don't know if you guys ever seen a video of that where they're just like and just like spitting seahorses
I
out.
think I have seen this before.
Yeah.
It's
And then
it's odd.
I didn't put in a photo of it because they're very close in what they look like. They're called pipefish, which are just really long seahorses, essentially. And
think
they're a
we've seen that
relative
at
of
the
the
aquarium,
seahorse
too.
who also carry fertilized eggs in the pouch. But fun fact, because I was looking at a diagram of these guys and I thought this was a cool fact, both seahorses and pipefish have their anus above their brood pouch. So they're pooping up here. And the babies are down here.
That's a
It's not
choice.
ideal, but I mean,
What if you had a poop
I mean-
underneath your mouth? That's weird, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
especially like, you're most
you'd have to
likely
hope the
poop while you're
currents
like
are
giving
like
birth.
in your
Oh
favor.
my god. So
You're
the
just
babies are
pooping all
being
over your
born
babies.
through a poop like fog.
Yeah. Anyways,
Aw.
I just, seahorse anatomy. I just thought that was funny. Next, which we do have a photo of, is called the jawfish, and these are a type of a mouth brooders. So what
I'm
they
gonna say
do?
mouth breather.
It
I
looks
thought it
like
was like a frog at first.
Yeah,
it does kind of
kinda
look like one, yeah. So these are carrying just a bunch of fertilized eggs and looks like almost babies in their mouths until they hatch, which means that they cannot eat actually during this period, and it can sometimes last for 10 days.
Oh my god! When I was pregnant, all
they
I wanted
carry
to do
them.
was eat. So this sounds terrible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not pregnant. They're just carrying the eggs, but like
Oh.
for 10 days long, and they can't eat because
Yeah, but you can't eat, and you have all these delicious
Yeah.
eggs in your mouth.
You like
Yeah,
oh my God,
eggs,
I
so you're
love
like,
eggs.
"Hmm."
I'm sure they won't notice if a few eggs go missing.
They won't notice just like 4 or 5. Just swallow softly.
Just no one has to know.
Yeah.
So the next one is called
Children are
the
expensive.
arowanas. Yeah. And these guys have ancestors that date as far back as 170 million years ago, and they're also known as bony tongues. And this is due to a tooth at the bottom of their jaw that resembles a tongue. But the males are also mouth brood. Oh my god, let me try this again. The males are also mouth brooders and will carry fertilized eggs in their mouths. And once they
I just zoom in on this photo because I'm trying to figure it out.
I've gone too far. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't get a bigger photo of this one.
I'll find it.
Once they have hatched, the young still stay in the mouths, and they will occasionally take trips out to investigate their surroundings until they
Aw.
finally fully leave. But basically, even as babies, they're still like, we're much safer in the mouth right now.
In my father's
Um,
mouth.
Yeah, exactly. And then I got one more. Is this my last mouth brooder? Because I made some changes. Yes. Okay. I got one
Ooh,
more
these are
mouth
cute.
brooder. And these you probably have seen in like stores because these are very common saltwater aquarium fish. They're called Bengai cardinal fish.
Okay.
So even though they're regularly bred in captivity, they are still caught in the wild, and this mixed with human impact on their home environment has led to significant decline in their numbers, and they are on the endangered species list.
Mm.
Mm.
But as for breeding, the female plays a very active role in creating the pair, so like finding the mate. Normally it's
Yeah.
the male, she's like on it. And then a few days before spawning, as they get closer, the pair will establish a spawning area because normally they live in groups. So they'll establish a spawning area away from the main group, and these fish will vigorously defend the eggs in the spawning area.
That's not what I thought you were
And
going to
then
say.
after the egg, they will vigorously mate. No, vigorously defend the eggs in the spawning area. And then after the eggs hatch, the babies will stay in the mouths of the males for an unknown amount of time, basically until they're ready to leave.
Okay.
So that, the kid in the basement that won't leave,
And
that's what this
yeah,
is.
in this day and age, it's hard to buy a house. So you're looking at like early 30s, maybe.
Yeah. So basically, Big Papa there is like, as long as you need babies, and
Aw, it's a
he'll
good
he'll
papa.
mouth breed them. Yeah.
Okay.
So, last on my list is some same-sex parenting, and this next photo isn't what I'm getting into. And first, I just wanted to talk about in captive male cichlids, which are a very common fish that you see in aquariums as well. They've been seen in males pairs in captivity, performing mating behaviors and guarding nests together, and even adopting fry together as well.
Okay.
Then this next photo that you have is go back to the frog. I heard somebody click. Okay.
I'm on the
Female
frog.
African clawed frogs. And they have displayed mating rituals with each other, females ones, such as nest preparations. Once again, in captivity. And then my last thing to talk about today is a very, very famous aquatic animal couple, Roy and CeeLo.
So
and
cute.
they were a pair
Aw.
of chin-strap penguins in Central Park Zoo and began courting each other in 1998. They built a nest together and attempted to hatch a rock. And after obviously the zookeepers were watching this, they
Mhm.
gave them a egg-shaped rock to see to measure the temperatures to see if they were doing everything accurately. And once they realized that they were, there was another couple who had 2 eggs and they weren't successful at raising 2 eggs. So they gave Roy and CeeLo one of the eggs, and they hatched a chick named Tango. And funny enough, Tango was later seen in a relationship with another female chin-strap penguin.
That's so
And
cute.
Roy and CeeLo did unfortunately separate in 2005 after an
Listen.
aggressive pair of chin-strap penguins forced them out of their nest. CeeLo went on to find a partner with a female, and Roy found another male partner.
Oh my God. It's just like humans.
Yeah,
Aw. But they adopted
So,
together, and
they did. They adopted,
Okay.
they raised successfully.
Yeah.
It work. And then,
relationships
then
are
they went on-
complicated, even for penguins.
Exactly. So, they went on and they raised Tango. I think Tango's the only one that they raised together. But that's
so
that's
cute.
the
Really
penguins there,
cute.
which there was a book about, and Tango makes 3 or something. a
That sounds
children's book,
familiar.
I
I
think.
know that
Oh.
there's
I think it's been
also
banned right now,
Oh,
but
Jesus.
in a lot
There's
of
also a
places.
plot line
because
on
of
Parks and Rec when
adoption?
because it's 2 male parents.
Do you guys
It's on
remember-
like the banned book list.
remember in Parks and Rec when Leslie married 2 penguins that she didn't know were 2 men and everyone freaked out? It must have been based on this. Like,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But yeah, that's my very
Love it.
random. Here's a little bit of everything because I couldn't
Happy
decide what
Pride.
to do. And happy past Seashell Day. National
Seashells, gay seashell day.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
there we
queer
go.
seashell.
Yeah,
Wow.
Happy Pride. This is really
That was
interesting.
such a fun episode. So many little like pieces that I did not know.
Oh my God. You know what? I love doing these ones because it's like so fun to put it together. But then I'm like, oh my God, it takes me so long to research each thing.
Which you chose to
I
do.
know. And then I put 19 photos in here. I'm like, what am I doing myself? I
Which
have to edit this
you-
video.
yeah,
I
I was gonna
know.
say.
I know. I'm like, what am I? Anyways.
Oh, I'm
Anyways,
looking
but
at
it's
the
worth it.
Tango Makes 3 book.
Yeah.
Cute.
I'm
We'll
gonna
pop
try
it
to
up.
see if I can
Yes.
get it.
What's a 20th photo? Let's pop it up.
It looks like it's available.
Let's add 5 more.
It's just on like a banned book list or something like that.
Oh,
Wow.
'Cause you know
that's
there's all
fair.
those like banned books or
that's,
whatever.
it's not fair, but
No.
This was a great episode.
I
and learned
understand
a
people
lot.
See why.
are crazy. Yeah.
You
Well, it
understand
didn't
that
even
people are
cross my
crazy,
mind
yes.
that it would be banned at first. I'm like, well,
Oh,
yeah,
because you're a
okay.
decent, normal person. So
I mean, this looks adorable.
It is.
Look at
Yeah,
the little
so,
baby
one of the things
penguin.
that I read too is that because penguins normally mate until like a mate dies type thing, it's very normal to see this even in the wild if they like don't have a mate. They just
Mhm.
want to be in partners. So it's very normal to see
that's
like
just so nice.
females and females and males and males and like trying to like raise hatchlings
And they're
and stuff
not
like that
just
together.
roommates. It's not,
Yeah.
their special friend
No, that was just in the 70s.
and the 90s
Yeah.
and probably the 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably even today.
So, yeah, there's
I
still
hope not
definitely some
today,
people
but
today in certain areas. But
Yeah, it
I
depends
would
where you
understand that.
live. It could be
Yeah.
dangerous.
And who your family is. Yeah, exactly. Oh, well,
who your president is.
oh, God. For now. all the shit that's happening
I
right
know.
now
I'm
is
trying
just
to travel
wild.
safely in a couple weeks, so I'm just gonna
Drug free.
not. I mean, I know I'm drug free. I
Use
just mean
use a burner phone to travel with. Don't bring
Get-
your phone.
That's not
Get
suspicious.
a burner phone.
Yeah, I mean, I hear horror stories, but I don't know how much is like what the deal
Listen,
is.
you have your green card and your kids, and I doubt you're not. It's a very it's not that it's not traumatizing. It is very traumatizing, but it's a very
Right.
small percentage of people that it is happening to.
And I do worry though, because I think this has happened to you before, Lindsay, but because your kids, their skin is not quite as white as yours. I know they don't, unless you look exactly like your parents,
Yeah.
people ask questions, and it's so unfair because I would say 9 times out of 10, it's a completely normal, loving family, but because people are racist, they make it now your problem.
Yeah, I mean, some people just like I've been asked before. I'm like, oh, are you the nanny?
Ugh.
No, that's my kid.
Also, like,
I'm
fuck
not like.
off. Like,
I mean,
why are
you
you
don't
even
need
asking?
to know. Like,
No, but
You're
why
like,
are you
can
even
you
asking?
see these eyebrows? Those are his eyebrows. We have the same eyebrows.
no, my
Are you
kids
kidding
have
me?
eyebrows, so they.
You're
I
right. Now
understand the
he does. When he was a
confusion.
baby, he didn't really
True.
though.
I mean, a lot of
so,
babies.
Yeah.
Eyebrow game is not the best, but yeah,
Yeah,
both
But
that's
my
okay.
but their
kids have way
eyelashes
better. Oh
are
yeah,
stunning.
Their eyelashes are
Stunning.
amazing.
Always.
Yes.
I'm like, how are you
Yes.
doing that?
Yes.
It's not fair. I mean, I have like longish eyelashes and Eric has curly lashes and the kids got the best of both. So
They don't have to
Perfect.
worry about any products or tools. They just wake up and it's like,
just wake up.
I'm done.
Adorable. Must be
They are
nice.
pretty freaking cute.
Yeah.
Oh,
right? What's
come
that like?
on. You wake up
Yeah.
adorable too.
Every time I do travel with my kids though, as the country, I have to get a document just if Eric isn't with us that
Oh, to say
it's
like, hey, I'm
notarized
allowing
that
her. Yeah.
yeah, because
I'm not like running with the kids across the border.
right, like
That's
it's
fair.
both parents know what's happening.
Mhm.
But I've only been actually asked for it once ever, and I've traveled many
Do you have
times.
to like do you guys have to go and get that done somewhere, or is it enough for him to just like write something up and sign it?
I do have to get it notarized, so but a lot of places will notarize it for like $1. It's not.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's not too hard. Like you can go to UPS or any money
Does he have to be there too, or are they
exchange.
just like,
Yeah,
that's
he has.
cool?
We have to show our ID.
Oh.
So all they just check is like, are you who you say you are? Okay, then I will notarize this. They don't really
Okay.
I'm
care.
so
what
glad
it
that
is.
Chantel's not a notary.
She's
She'd be
like,
like,
yeah, it's fine.
I believe you.
Yeah. Oh, you signed it from somewhere. Oh, yeah, no problem.
Listen,
Just,
Totally.
I
like,
think it's
stamp of
probably a lot of
approval.
people trying to escape a situation.
Yeah.
Okay. And they can't bring them. So I'm cool with it.
Wink
I'm
if
the
you
cool mom.
if you really need this letter notarized.
Everyone gets approval.
Yeah.
You're approved. You're approved. Yeah. So
Well, I think we have a couple more coming out in June, but also, Pride is just it's life,
I think we
man.
only have
It's
one
not just
more.
the month. Oh, just
Yeah.
one more? Well, we're going to try to keep it as gay as possible for as long as possible.
yeah, I actually live much closer to like the it's called Boys Town here in Chicago. So
I love it.
when we used to live up here before, we had this perfect bar we could go to and we could watch the like Pride Parade from the comfort of like this outdoor bar area.
That's
Because we'd
perfect.
have Grace and he was just like a baby. It was so nice.
Aw.
You'd sit there, watch the parade, have a drink. So I'll have to find a
I
similar
do miss how
place.
close we used to live to it as well.
Yes,
'Cause,
I
like,
know.
the
We
gay
felt so
village.
safe walking
there,
there at
yeah.
night too, because we'd like walk home.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
we would always aim for Church Street. We'd be like,
Yeah,
let's
'cause
go
then it's like
up,
if there's no cars
here
and
near
then
church. Yeah,
we just know that the men on this street are not gonna
They're gonna
harass
protect us.
God.
Yeah.
Like,
They're not gonna harass and they're gonna protect.
What
if
does
anybody
that
does.
say? I don't want to get too preachy at the end of this, but I think I saw this quote where someone said something about, dangerous men, and then a man said, well, if there were no men, who would protect you? And she's like,
We wouldn't
the
need
men
protection
are the
if there were
one.
no men.
Exactly. But he didn't get it. It's like, you're one of the problem, answer. Anyway, back at these
Yes.
penguins. They're adorable. Great
Yeah.
episode. Very, very different. Loved it.
Yeah,
I
loved
love all
it,
the little
yeah.
appetizers and amuse bouches, and
Mhm.
it was nice.
I especially love that really old clam.
I
Aw,
know
Ming.
Ming. I
Yeah.
love that it was from the Ming Dynasty that they named it. It also has
Yeah.
another name. I can't remember what it was. Later on,
Ming.
they made it like the scientist. But I'm like, I like Ming. It makes sense. They were around because that means that they were around in
Mhm.
like 1499 or something like that, which is
Can't
the
even,
Ming Dynasty.
comprehend. I like to imagine that Ming was like on top of the Greenland shark and they were like cruising together.
Oh, for sure.
Best.
It's like talking about history. Hey, remember 400 years ago when so and so tripped and fell and spilled their wine? That was
Well,
hilarious.
let's see. So if they were killed
I thought you were
in
gonna say if they were friends.
2006. Yeah, still 1499. There we go. Okay.
Okay.
I thought that 1499 was from the original number that they found, but no. 1499 was when they think that they were little larval stage creating their first layer of shell.
Oh
So
my
cute.
goodness.
They grow up
just a
so
little
fast.
baby.
They grow up.
This is
Okay.
good.
Well,
Almost,
thank you,
almost no one
Chantal.
died. This is great.
Almost,
Yeah,
yeah.
except for Ming. But
Ming.
Yeah, except for Ming. Poor Ming.
Yeah.
Sacrifices.
I mean,
Pour one out for Ming.
Ming
Yeah.
lived a long life.
Very,
Yeah,
very.
very
Ming
We can
was
say
spent,
that.
remember? Ming was spent. So, like.
I've got nothing left to live for. Just kill me.
They were just, watching reruns of the Golden Girls being like, I'm good.
Imagine
Praying for
and
death.
You're a clam. You've lived for 500 years, and then someone just like digs you up,
Dredges
and
you off the
serves
bottom
you
and freezes
on dinner.
you?
Like,
Yeah.
What the fuck?
This is how
I
I
was-
go out. Yeah.
so mad.
This is not
How
how
many
this
other
was not on my bingo
500-year-old
card.
clams have I eaten? I don't know. I hope not. None.
You never know.
Before we say goodbye, is the
Titan.
is it out now?
It would
What?
be out by the time this comes out.
Yeah,
And I
'cause
just
this
watched
comes
the
out on the
HBO one, which was already out. It's 11th,
Okay.
I think.
I'm gonna watch one of them today because there was
Yeah.
a Watch
Yeah.
Mojo compilation, and I was like, I shouldn't watch this yet because
Oh
I
my God.
couldn't
I
tell.
learned a really crazy fact watching the one,
Oh.
and maybe you should watch
Take it offline.
first. Yeah,
well,
we'll take
not
it
offline, but take it off this,
Yes,
and then
yes.
keep it online.
And we'll
'cause
talk
Yeah,
about
this
it
comes
later.
out
We'll
at the
have to
end
do-
of June. So we're at the very end
Oh,
of
well,
Pride Month here.
Hope you had a great Pride,
No.
everybody.
Yeah.
Shit. Well, I'm gonna watch some kind of Titan submersible
Maybe we can do a
documentary.
group episode this summer, and we just throw in all
Talk
our
about it.
stuff about the
Well, we
Titan.
do have a group one coming up, which will be for
Yes.
Shark Week.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure we'll find another one because we'll all
Well,
need
we
a
can
break
do our
eventually
Titanic
again.
and then put in the Titan stuff there because we're
I
going
like
to
that
go
idea.
to
I
the Titanic
I
exhibit.
like it.
So,
We'll figure it
Okay.
out. Oh, yes. Yeah. Right.
Oh my God, I
I
can't
forgot we're
wait for
doing
that.
that.
so we can
That's
do
the end of
two
this
group
month.
episodes this summer.
Yes, you'll have some special content coming out because we have some exhibits that we're going to and some things that we're visiting when Lindsay's back home. So some special things coming out, little tidbits. Anyways, I think that's it for today though.
Yeah.
Let's not ramble like we're good at. Let's
Well,
ramble
have a
off
great
Friday,
off
ladies.
film.
Yeah, we are way past rambling, but love you all. Thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe, comment, compliment.
Ko-fi. Coffee.
Coffee.
us.
God.
Coffee us. I just can't get it. Okay.
Pour some coffee on us. We love you. See you next
Okay,
week.
bye.
Thank you for listening today. We loved having you. If you liked the episode, share with your friends, family, or anyone who would enjoy it. Also, take a moment to review our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Leaving us a like or comment really helps. If you'd like to buy us a coffee, please visit our coffee page at www.ko-fi.com/coastfiles. Email us at coastfilespod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at coastfilespod, or visit our website at www.coastfiles.com. You can find the sources for today's episode on our website. See you next week with a new episode.